Eventually, you're going to run a PowerShell command that results in an error, perhaps from a server that couldn't be contacted or a file that couldn't be found. In that case, you might wonder if there's a way to handle that error yourself, rather than letting PowerShell merely display some red text on the screen. How can you do it? In the real world, errors happen. We can all accept that, but what we may want is the ability to respond to those errors, rather than just reading about them on the screen. In PowerShell, we have that option, but only after we understand a couple of fundamental facts. The first of which is that not every error is an error. Most commands in PowerShell default to displaying an error message when something goes wrong. PowerShell gives us the choice of displaying those errors or hiding them. For example, running this command results in an error because the file name specified doesn't exist. The command displays an error message by default. Now, if I set the built-in error action preference variable to silently continue and run the same command again, this time the error won't display. The error is still happening, we're just not seeing the error message. Setting the variable back to its default setting of continue changes the behavior back to displaying the error message. The error action preference, like all PowerShell variables, is scoped. If you change it within a script, it'll only affect that script. It won't affect the shell itself or any other scripts. Changing it within the shell affects the shell and any scripts you run. But each PowerShell command has an error action parameter, which overrides the error action preference variable. You can think of the variable as a default, what to do if nothing else is specified. The parameter specifies something specific to that command. Here's the same command, this time run with the EA parameter. That's a shortcut for error action, and it works the same way. I've specified silently continue, so that no matter what the error action preference variable is set to, we'll never see an error message. Of course, none of this is helping us do something about the error, because so far all we've seen are error messages. Inside PowerShell, there is a way of detecting and dealing with bad things, but they're not called errors. They're called exceptions. So in order to deal with a problem, we need to get the command to generate an exception, and the way to do that is the error action parameter. Here's the same command again, this time with an EA parameter of stop. That forces the command to not only display an error message, but also to generate an exception that we can trap and do something with. Moving into a script so that we can see this happening more clearly, we'll define a trap. Notice that the trap must be defined before the exception occurs. Now we'll run that command again and specify EA stop. When we run this, you can see that our trap does execute. The message output by the trap is displayed. At the end of the trap, we've specified continue. That makes the script resume operation at the line after the one that caused the exception. We can change that to the other option, break. This will force the script to exit when it hits the trap. Running it, we can see that it did exit. The last command from our script never executed. It can take a bit of practice to get the right combination of error action parameters, error action preference variables, and traps to achieve exactly the effect you want. But PowerShell can do it for you. Thanks for joining me. I'm Don Jones, and I'll see you online at Concentrated Technology for more tips on Windows PowerShell and other Windows administrative technologies.